Today, I wanted to talk to you guys about Finn, a stormtrooper of the First Order turned rebel, his journey, and how his story ends. Some people, and even including John Boyega, believe his character was wasted, or that they never even finished his story. However, to me, while I can agree with Finn's involvement was sort of limited to more of a side character than the main one he was established in the first two movies, I still feel fully satisfied with his character arc for the most part. Finn, first known as FN-2187, starts his story as part of the First Order. He's with an attack squad that assaults a village where Poe, a pilot and ranking officer of the Resistance, is currently at in his quest to find information on the disappearance of Luke Skywalker. And upon attacking the village, Finn is subjected to one of the horrors of warfare: death. He watches one of his comrades gets gunned down, and while others storm past their fallen friend, Finn shows a unique and uncommon trait of compassion as he rushes to his friend's side and is there for him as he dies. From this point forward, something changes in Finn. When his squad rounds up the civilians and the order is given to gun them down, he can't bring himself to fire his weapon. From there, he has a desperate need to get away from the First Order, who carelessly throws away the lives of their soldiers and brainwashes those who begin to show any sign of resistance to their commands. Long story short, Finn helps the captured Poe escape. They form a near instant friendship where he earns a true name for himself. They crash on Jakku and they're separated, and then he meets Rey. Now, I think we can all agree their first meeting could have been considered less than getting off on the right foot. But after that, Rey shows Finn a compassion and tenderness that he never experienced before with the First Order. So much so that even when his own life is put in danger, his primary focus and care is for Rey's safety and well-being. And while awkward, he has discovered an important part of his life that was denied with the First Order: true friendship. However, fear does remain his dominant emotion at this time, and obviously so. The First Order is an ultimate power growing in the galaxy and had taken everything from him before he was even old enough to understand what he had lost. And because of that, his fear drives him towards cowardice, where he looks for any reason to run away as long as it gets him as far away from the First Order as possible. However, when Rey is captured by Kylo Ren, he abandons his desire to flee and works with the Resistance to help find a way to not just stop the First Order, but save Rey, which with the help of Han and Chewie, he does. And even further, he goes toe-to-toe with Kylo Ren, the man he should fear the most in the First Order, all for the sake of protecting Rey, because he's learned that friendship is a cause worth fighting for. But then, when we pick up with Finn's character in The Last Jedi, he's just recovered from his injuries, and like before, his primary concern is still Rey's safety. However, when Finn learns the Resistance's dire situation, he prepares himself to abandon ship to go and search for Rey. Here he meets Rose, a member of the Resistance who just lost her sister in a space battle with a First Order dreadnought. She's guarding the escape pods from possible deserters, and upon meeting Finn for the first time, she fangirls out hard. She fawns over how brave he was to leave the First Order and take the fight to them, and how he's a real inspiration to other members of the Resistance. But upon seeing his packed bag, she understands his intentions and... But in this moment, we need to understand that Finn is still that same person from The Force Awakens. He still only thinks any reason to fight the First Order is for the sake of his friends. And while Rose calls him a coward, he reinforces this by explaining he was leaving to try and save Rey. As the story continues, Rose and Finn are sent on a mission together to find someone who can help break the tracking device on the First Order ship to help the Resistance fleet escape before they run out of fuel and are destroyed. And the only lead they have takes them to Cantabite. Now, a lot of people seem to believe that this entire section of the movie is a big old waste of time. And, aside from the messages of the risks of unrestrained capitalism, such as animal cruelty, unprotected child labor, and people who sell weapons to both sides of a war to get rich, I mean, seriously, if you don't find a single problem with one of those things, please rethink your life. Anyway, upon arrival, Finn is smitten with the place, as at first he only sees the fun and beauty of his surroundings. But it's Rose that's the one to show him the darker side and the true cost for this level of extravagant lifestyle by showing him that the Resistance doesn't just fight the bad guys for their friends and families, but strangers as well. And while the mission could be considered a waste of time, given that not only do they not find the guy they were sent to look for, but they sort of settle with another person that seems to have the sufficient enough skills to do what they need them to do, the only problem is ends up betraying them. But it's through this journey with Rose that Finn understands the importance of standing up for others. Not just people you care for personally, which is why near the end he is then willing to put his own life on the line and sacrifice himself for the same resistance he was ready to abandon at the start of The Last Jedi. Until Rose stops him, which I personally was happy for because I wasn't ready to lose this character that I had come to know and love. But due to his overall lack of use in The Rise of Skywalker, while it still shows his importance and involvement with the Resistance, there isn't that same level of detail that he was given in the previous 2 movies, which was genuinely disappointing. However, I think if we just can look past that and at what he accomplishes at the end of his story, we can clearly see the full arc of this fun and amazing character I'm so happy was introduced to Star Wars. Finn starts his story as a coward looking to run away in fear of the First Order. Through meeting Poe and Rey, who treat him with compassion and love, he becomes brave enough to fight for their safety. Then through Rose, he learns the importance of standing up for others, regardless of his personal relationship with them. And finally, we see not only has Finn become the very hero Rose made him out to be at the start of The Last Jedi, but he became a man who led the charge against the very people he feared at the start of his story. And that is why I love Finn as a character. Finn represents some of the best traits and qualities human beings are capable of. Overcoming personal fears for the sake of friends and loved ones. Standing up for what is right, even when you're afraid of the consequences. Look, you might not like the sequel trilogy, and you might not like Finn or his betrayal by John Boyega, but what I think we should all be able to collectively agree upon is that these traits, these morals, are important lessons to be teaching the next generation who will be watching these Star Wars films. They might not be like your heroes from the prequels or the originals, but they're going to be someone else's heroes in the future. But that's just my opinion, and I hope you guys liked today's video. If you did, please give me a like. If you want to see more, think about giving me a subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Thank you.